In fact, the Ukrainian tennis star Sergiy Stakhovsky has enlisted in his country's military reserve as Russia continues its invasion. He now joins us live. Mr. Stakhovsky, good morning. Thank you for speaking to us on Republic. To begin with, what are you thinking today?
Well, as I was thinking any other day in the last 3 days or 4. But it's insane that in today's world we have an open waged war inside the Europe boundaries.
Right. Now, Mr. Stakhovsky, of course, you are joining as a military reservist. You have no former military training. How did you make that decision and what's going through your mind now?
Well, it's never easy to make a decision like that. Never in my life I would expect that this thing was going to happen. I mean, we all expected that something's going to happen in the regions of Donbas and Luhansk, but nobody expected that Russia is going to go full-scale war across all of our border and enter. As a Ukrainian citizen and just an individual, I just don't see any other thing that I could do to protect my country and the freedoms of my country and my countrymen, and basically the basic existence of my nation, just to stand up and just defend.
Right, absolutely. As you join this war, are you hopeful at all of some sort of a resolution coming in from those talks that will be held between Ukraine and Russia?
Of course, we all hopeful for some resolution, but laying down our arms and surrendering Ukraine is not a resolution that Ukrainian people and Ukrainian president is going to accept. And I'm very doubtful that Russia will accept any other terms. So unless the world is going to engage and make sure that Russia feels the consequences of an invasion of a certain country, it's going to be very hard for Ukraine to get it out by themselves. I mean, we are superbly motivated. You could see that even our president stays in Kiev and he's not scared to get out during shelling. So it's a nation which is going to be very, very hard to conquer to any country. And I'm pretty sure Europe doesn't want us to be conquered, because then they're next in line.
Right, absolutely. And the world, of course, stands with you today as you and your countrymen put up this resistance against, the Russian army, which is particularly strong. But give us a sense of how your family is doing back there. Are they still back in Ukraine? How is the normal life of every Ukrainian on the street being upended by this conflict, which one did not expect to go to this extent, really?
Well, majority of my countrymen, and we're a big country in Europe terms, never experienced anything like this. I mean, we have, of course, a lot of army reserves and a lot of soldiers which already went through a rotation or two into Donbas and Luhansk region throughout these 8 years of war with Russia. But it was never that massive. So for the regular citizens deep inside Ukraine, even closer to the European borders, shelling is something that they never experience. Of course, everybody's scared. You sit in your home 1 minute, it's all silent, and then something comes in and you have explosions all over the place. I know there are a lot of people that are fleeing, predominantly it's women and children. My mother took the wife of my brother and the 2 granddaughters across the border. It took them about 40 hours to get from Kiev to Slovakia. There's a lot of traffic on that way. I was coming from that pass last night, so it's a tough situation, and definitely Ukraine will need help to strike back and defend our territorial sovereignty.
Right. What we're also seeing, Mr. Stakhovsky, is that a large number of Ukrainians actually taking their families to safety across the borders, but then coming back to fight. And that's something that you also are, of course, now doing.
Well, I just don't see myself any different to any other individual, any other Ukrainian who is risking his life and sending his family away and coming back to protect the future of our children.
One last question before I let you go. I know this is an extremely tense time, but what do you make of the fact that Russia, ahead of the talks, has put in place nuclear deterrence? Do you think this is arm-twisting tactics?
Well, if they are putting the nukes now, can you imagine what they're going to do later? I mean, if it's always going to be at the table, and then what, you're going to surrender the European Union just because Russia has nukes? Well, France has nukes, as far as I remember. Great Britain should have some. So it's not, or India for that matter. So what, now we're going to just threaten other countries that they have to surrender and lay down their arms because we have nukes? We all understand that once the nuke starts flying, it's the end of the world as we know it. And if you have a leader of a big country with a great army like Russia threatening the world with nukes, well, the world should do something about it.
Right. Also, what we have seen is there are a large number of Russian citizens who are protesting, not just in Russia. We have seen visuals come in from St. Petersburg, as well as various other cities in Russia, who are protesting against their own president because they believe that they did not really sign up for this at all. Your comment on that?
Well, the morale inside the Russian army ranks is also not great because they know that they are not in their territory. They know that they're invading a sovereign country. So they are not highly motivated. Of course, we thank all the people of Russia who come out, who protest, and who make it clear that they demand this to be stopped. The protests not only in Russia, but they're all over the world, in Argentina, in Tokyo, in Paris, in London. And the support of the world has been extremely encouraging to the Ukrainian army and to the Ukrainian soldiers. But this doesn't have to stop. I mean, we have to still press and try to make Putin and his establishment and his generals to understand the consequences that they will have if they don't change the narrative.
Absolutely. Mr. Stakhovsky, thank you for speaking to us on Republic Media Network. All the very best to you and your countrymen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.